How you doing, everybody? So I have a small thing. I don't really understand it. I mean, I seen this video here. So it's from Comedy Hype, and that's why Denzel stopped kissing white women. Don't really understand it because Denzel Washington is an actor. He's not a comedian. Um, that's neither here nor there. So they have this thing where I guess sorry, I also got to mention it. So this lady, I guess what's her name? Rajan Prasad. Rajan Prasad. She says, "Why black men love white women." So I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and suggest that she did studies, she did her research, she has surveys, facts, statistics, and etc. It's still weird to me because that's like me commenting on a black man experience, a black woman's experience as a black man, and saying this is why black women dates outside the race, or this is why black women really do anything. Because how am I supposed to tell it? I'm not a black woman. So, and she said some real, I guess, looking at it, she got like some weird. Sorry, I had to check, but she said one thing was just like back in the day they were and this is true. This is true. Back in the day, white men for some reason had this weird. It was really really weird obsession with like attacking black men because black men had this curiosity, which is pretty much if you look today, you see all types of people with all different types of people from different races because they're curious. You know, if you've been like in a predominantly black neighborhood, and then you have somebody move in and this person's white or Latino or East Asian or even Southeast Asian, you know, you're gonna be curious about them. If they move into your school, you're gonna be like, oh, what's she about? You know, what's going on? You know, um, and that makes sense. That makes sense. But that's we don't really. I don't, as far as I know, I can't say for myself that I'm curious about white women because of sentiments from white men. I don't necessarily care what white men got to say about if I consider a black white woman. She's a woman, you know. She might look a certain way, you know. Um, and I'm sorry. I have another thing to say, and that's it, just in regards to like the other side of like um, why black men might consider dating outside the race, and it's not even because of like they don't want to date black women. I think it's because I was gonna say this. I'll wait. I'll hold off if I remember it. So this is a quote from her book. This environment greatly increased any. Oh, okay. So she's probably talking about the environment of like the hostile lynchings and stuff like that. So this helped to greatly increase any interest the black men may have had in the white woman. If the black man had no innate interest in the white woman, he certainly would have developed some just out of curiosity. But I'm like, if that's the case, these black men, just like any other race, would have been just curious. If they've been in their own people group, and somebody outsider came in, they would be curious about the outsider. I know this also because as a black man, I moved when I was younger. My mom went to Wisconsin, and it was predominantly white, and we were there for some years. And they were interested. They were just curious about me because they hadn't seen a black man before. So they was curious about my hair texture. It sucks because man's balding out here, but they was curious about my hair texture, skin. They were just curious, and it was like it wasn't like a bad thing. It was just like I took it as positive because hey, that okay, they're curious, and also I'm introverted, so I was like, okay, the social attention is pretty nice. Um, but it was just like it wasn't something that was like negative or like you're a thing. It was just like, hey, how are you doing? You're different from us. Let's see who you are. And again, they were different from me because I hadn't seen too many white people either. So it was just an interesting exchange. Um, oh, another thing. So I'm not fully understanding it. So she says, as the physical and social distance between the white woman and the black man increased, the psychosexual distance between the two decreased. Psychosexual distance between the two decreased, developing a mutual interest. So my only guess from that is that it's like a rubber band effect. It's kind of like you distance people apart, but that only makes sense to me if they met and they got curious and then they were forced to separate. So my thing is maybe it was a thing of like segregation. Now for dude, let's play this out pretty much like Romeo and Juliet. So these are the same race of people. They're just two different families. So they met each other, right? And they were forced to come apart. Yet that mutual interest decided that sparked something between them two. Now these are two people. They saw each other across the way. They developed a mutual interest, and then they were forced to leave. Of course, they're gonna come back together eventually. That's not really like a race thing. It's a curiosity thing, but it's a person thing, you know. So this don't really have to do with like black men and white women. I get the idea because this is about Denzel's Washington's intentional attempt to decrease his uh, his media presence with white women romantically on set of movies. And so if that's his intentionality, and again, I know he's Christian and he's married, so there's that, you know. But Christianity doesn't have to do with anything with segregation. Um, I mean, what is it? There's no difference between Jew and Gentile, right? So the chosen people of God back then versus the people who are outside the camp now accepted in Christ. You know, there's no difference. So now again, I don't want to sit here and act like we don't experience racial issues. There's not problems like that. There is, and people we just because your cop is white and he happens to be nice to you like a fellow white person doesn't mean his ignorances won't come out or his stereotypes won't come out with somebody else that he's called to protect and serve. It happens. It happens. It just has been a lot more reported now than it has been in the past, and it doesn't. The thing is just like we do have biases. We're human. We're sinful. We're flawed. So we're not going to do things we need to do. You know, we're not going to do things that we as we intended to. Despite our good intentions, we fall short every time. You know, and we fall short of the glory of God. When God is love, we fall short of loving people as we fully intend and need to. So, I just don't like. I'm not really a fan of the trajectory of this video. Um, Another. Oh yeah, I want to pull it back to my last point. It's just like some black men, they tried. You know, and I know for myself, I got my own issues and stuff I'm trying to work through. But I know, like for instance, Donald Glover, he married a white woman. He mentioned in a tweet, again, I could be wrong, but he loves his black woman. But he knew he tried. He said he tried with black women. They thought he was too weird, so he just stopped. And he happened to connect with this other white woman. This other woman who happened to be white. I'm sorry, and she's gorgeous. If you check out their videos together, well, wonderful. And he got songs dedicated to her and stuff like that. Cause she's a good person, probably good person to him. So my issue with that is just like we hate on. I get kind of where it's coming from. It's like this comparison is jealousy and it's a bunch of other stuff, but it's like there's some folks who do it out of an insecurity of their race and their complexion. Some people do that. Some people say I'm not trying to date black people at all. I can't date somebody for their complexion. Some people say that, you know. And even for me in the past, I've dealt with colorism. I've had to work through that. And so now I think I'm a lot better. I think I would date a black woman. The thing is, our cultural values, what we consider to be attractive in the black community, is just not. They don't align with me sometimes, you know. And again, I know I have my own issues, but that's something that has influenced my decision making of who I'm looking for. But like, but if we don't solve those things, and forgive me, I need to go back to my other point. Dating somebody because of a skin tone or because of a complexion, it's just you're missing out on so much more. You're missing out on their character. You're missing out on how responsible they are. You're missing out on their temperament. You're missing out on if they're a nice person, or you're missing out on if they have baggage. You're missing out on if they agree with your religious values. You're missing out on a whole bunch of stuff. And then we even talk about colorism in the black community. There's people who have been dogged out heavily by the black community, by our own people. Those high yellow people who are very light. There's darker skinned people who are dogged out, like Kodak Black. He said he ain't trying to date no dark skinned people. He don't want dark skinned children because he has had negative experiences by his own people, which is so insane to me. Because I'm like, how are we going to sit here and be all gatekeeping and protecting when we still dog our own folks out for a complexion? They say, oh, you black as ever, you African. That's stupid to me. That's incredibly dumb. And yet, some of us still have the nerve to sit here, all melanin, the melanin is on fleek. I'm just like, okay, what do you want? What do you want to do? Do you want to have self-esteem about yourself? then stop dogging your own people out for having too much melanin. I'm like, and I get it. Back in the day, back in our American history, we glorified whiteness, and people were close to whiteness and close to white people just had a lot more benefits. But this is 2022, y'all. Like, why are we? And I think some of this stuff still happens. Like, why do we still have these weird gatekeeping things? And again, another thing is they mentioned Umar Johnson, and I'm like, he's not really a good example. Like, I think he's great for having a degree in psychology. I think that's great. I'm pursuing psychology, but everything else, like he when's that school getting built? That's what I gotta say. When's that school getting built? The dude got 2 wives, so I don't really know what standard he's trying to encourage upon black people to have. Because the dude's clearly having his own standards as a black man who has a doctorate. Sorry, I want to just continue this a little bit. All right, I want to play this just a little bit.
White and black couples in Hollywood who are accepted to a large degree. There are some who theorize that dating a white person while in the industry can be heavily responsible for a black person's success. Privilege and access whites have over blacks. Many see it as a sort of business move to romantically engage with whites to move up in the industry, sleeping your way to the top.
So, I'm not too sure how I feel about that. I don't know these couple. I don't know them couples, so I really couldn't tell you what their intentions behind dating these people are. I don't know. I know Lizzo tried to talk to Chris Evans. Was that like her trying to date to the top? Can't say. I don't know. I know some people who views what Brad Pitt is handsome and they black. Are they trying to date to the top? No, they probably just think he's an attractive person. Sorry. Okay, and they got this image of Obama. He tried to date these 2 white women. Sorry, he tried to propose to 2 white women, and it didn't work out. So that's a little strange. The dude, I think he went to Harvard or Yale. He went to some Ivy League school, and his wife, his current wife, I think his only wife, Michelle Obama. I think she went to an Ivy League school too. So, and again, the dude's mom is white too. So, I mean, I don't know what, I don't really get that. Like, you know, they act, but that's not really a black issue. That's more so like, okay, he tried to make that work, and his parents, the white woman's parents denied him. That's a whole different can of worms as it relates to Christianity, because it's so weird, because it's like, it's just weird. So I guess this lady, her name is Tatiana Ward. She was speaking about how I guess because black men were attacked for dating white women, or even considering even looking at them. Like, for instance, Emmett Till, all he did was whistle at this woman, and them white men like pretty much mangled him, killed him, mangled him, threw him in the river. So I can see that, and I can see how that could be maybe in our generation. But like, for instance, in places like Joliet, that's very intermingled, interracial. So it's like a city that's very intermixed. Just some aspects I don't really agree. It might be true. It might be true. This might be like in our psyche to consider forbidden fruit. But I don't really believe that. I think a person. I think when we can humanize women, period, and not just and also humanize white women. You know, because sometimes, like, for instance, back in the day when I had my issues and I was over glorifying women and stuff like that, just in general, and had colorism issues and had even glorified white women, but that was also due to my polarizing experiences from Wisconsin, then coming back to it like a inner city, and it was just like I just had like a lot of stuff I had to process through my mind. But like, oh sorry, yeah, dating like white women is just, it's not. I mean, what? I just feel like when we can finally like humanize women, period, no matter the race, we can then figure out like, okay, there is you with this person, and you're gonna have to figure out in terms of their humanity, is this person somebody you want to spend the rest of your life with? And then you're gonna have to figure out those superficial aspects that other people do look at you at. I remember going to the store, and I seen this interracial couple, and I seen this white dude who was real defensive, and the black woman, I'm not sure what she thought. I don't know if she just didn't care, or I don't know. But I seen a white dude, he was real defensive. He was giving me like he was trying to defend her or protect her, and I knew it was just like out of insecurity. But it was just like, dude, And I think I was staring a lot because his girlfriend was gorgeous. I'm like, his girlfriend was black, but his girlfriend was gorgeous. I'm like, golly, wow. And again, I think for me, it was more so like, dude, you got yourself a beautiful, beautiful female. I'm sorry, a beautiful woman. I know people don't like me saying female, but like you, wow, wow. Cause like, dude, yeah. Um, but I wasn't too sure if I should be like giving them a hand clap. Hey, dog, man, that girl, high five, dog, man. This is dope. But again, but the thing is, it's kind of like in dating, where if you feel calm, other people feel calm. And again, I get it. It's different. It sucks. Interracial dating should have been a thing that people didn't don't trip about. It just really should. I've dated a white woman before, which also goes back to my next point. Um, I just think, I partially think, um, yes, we kind of get like caught up in these movies. Sorry, I got to spit. But we see these women, these white women. They walk in slow motion. Their hair's flowing, and they stare at a dude, and then the actor who's supposed to be an everyman, right? But they typically white, which is I've always found that to be kind of funny, because they're not every man. They're just they're an archetype of white men, and yet people can fall into that, but that doesn't mean that like that every man is every man. But like but at the same time, like when you watch these movies, you do fit yourself in that everyman category, and you see this woman, and the director shows this woman again. The directors, that's another issue I do have. The directors show their vision and their from their cultural paradigm. Like Michael Scorsese. I think he's Italian. I think he used to grow up in an Italian neighborhood, so he made some Italian mobster movies based off his experiences growing up in those Italian neighborhoods. So that's his cultural paradigm. But again, just like when they have these, now mind you, these rom coms and comedies and romance stuff is it's all hogwash anyway. But like, and again, there's only like a few of them that's like really good. Like Jim Carrey's, I forget the other lady's name. Um, um, Sunshine of a Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, amazing movie. And I remember watching that for the just off the rip, just whatever. And then I was blown away. I was so glad I actually stopped to watch it because it was like you just have to watch it. Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. It even has Kirsten Dunst in it when she was real young, and I was real surprised about that because I only knew her from like more well-known movies. Charlie's Angels back in the 2000s. You know, I mean, I forget. It's some other stuff, but she was really big back then. Um, but yeah, I did not know she was a young actress at watching that. And this was with Jim Carrey, and they had another lady. I can't remember her name. I can't remember her name. Is it Drew Barrymore? I don't think so. But but yeah, dope actress. But it's just a little. I don't think we like the only time I could consider that statement that they had about forbidden fruit, about men being curious and treating women like forbidden fruit, and also to climb up the social ladder and all that stuff. Um, those things are like older, and for more people who have insecurity, and they don't figure out who they truly are, and they don't find stock in themselves, and they'll just grab any woman. Now, mind you, if we say here, I'm gonna give you a question. Now, I'm not gonna. I'm trying to. I don't want to be mean when I say this, but when people say, "Oh, you dated a white girl," okay, so I'm gonna ask you a question. Are we thinking of somebody like Drew Barrymore or Kirsten Dunst or like Emma Stone, Emma Watson, whatever, And again, well, who knows ethnically where they're from? Maybe Irish, German, Italian, Polish, whatever. Who knows? But okay, when we say, oh, they're with a white girl and they're kind of offended from that. Are we talking about those women? Or are we talking about like Rebel Wilson or forgive me, I'm sorry, Rebel Wilson's dope, and I think she's losing weight. Are we talking about earlier days Adele? Are we talking about? I, I hate this. I'm sorry. I'm being real shallow about it, but I'm doing this to make a point. Um, I'm not gonna bring that other lady up. She's super dope, but I don't want to bring her up. I only mention this because these women were known to be a bit hefty out here. Um, and not again, don't get me wrong. Adele 30 these days, she's looking fine. And I'm pretty sure Rebel Wilson's looking fine too. Which reminded me of that lady. I can't remember her name for the life of me, but she's a black woman. She was from Precious. I'm sorry. I just wish I could have had her name right, but she's from Precious, pretty much. And she's with a white dude. Um, she's a black woman, but her personality is amazing. When you see her offset, she's just very bubbly, very very positive. I love that. But yeah, are we thinking about who are we thinking about when we think white women? We typically thinking about very fit, very nice. We think of stereotypes, and I think stereotypes based off media, and this media built made by directors who create these women in their own image. And again, they you got casting directors, you have people who picking pretty girls and attractive looking dudes and dudes who fit an archetype. That's why some of these dudes get typecasted because they fit an archetype. That's why Tobey Maguire just couldn't fit certain roles because he had a childish face, so he couldn't fit what would be a manly man, type of role. But that's part of our problem, is that like we don't view people as people, we view people in categories. So that's why I say is a little bit of like jealousy, because come on now, if they seen some of these dudes dating just out of shape women, and again, I don't mean to use them as examples. I'm sure they're doing great. I'm a fan of Adele. I'm a fan of Rebel Wilson. She's funny. Um, Heck, I'm sorry, another person, Melissa McCarthy. Melissa McCarthy's funny. I'm currently watching what you call it, God's Favorite Idiot on Netflix, and ironically, the dude's her husband. Like, if you see Melissa McCarthy's movies, her husband's always in the movies as a side character or something like that. He always makes a cameo in the movies. But that's my point. It's just like, okay, your personality does matter. Your personality, your temperament, how you deal with the things, how nice you are, how reasonable you are, really does matter. It does matter a lot. But please stop giving me this idea that if women are jealous, that they are just jealous for you because she's white. No, stop that. Stop playing like. And also, some of these black dudes have tried. But I think some of that has to do with just the type of black dude who gets it. But at the same time, it don't even seem like that. Sometimes it has to do with like either top tier dudes who just thriving out here. They just have a lot of getting busy. Let's just say that. Other dudes are actors, and they're people who are thriving out here, and that's why I think it's just jealousy. It's stupid jealousy. If they dated these people, like for instance, Taye Diggs. I think it's Taye Diggs. He was with a white woman. I think he eventually cut it off just because of that pressure. Because nobody's saying anything when the genders are flipped. Nobody's saying it to that lady from Precious. Oh, why you with a white man? Why you with a white man? I can't believe you with a white man. No, but if it was flipped, then they'd be hating on her for what? This is stupid to me. If they found something that they was attracted to and they got together, why are we in their business? Why is that an issue? It shouldn't be. If they found each other, and they thought, for instance, what's her face? Even what's her name? Tia Mowry or Tamara Mowry. One of them is with a black man. One is with a white man. So we gonna hate on one of them? Another person, Tiffany Haddish. She's with a white man. Who's hating? I'm not too fond of Tiffany Haddish, but if she's with a white dude, she's with a white dude. Who cares? I shouldn't care. What has her romance got to do with me? What, like, and again, I hope she ain't dogging out black men, but like, what's that got to do with me? Nothing. So if you go date somebody, fine, but just have the right motives, have the right intentions. If is this person a good person? Are they gonna love you for a good minute? Are they gonna love you forever till death? So I just, and I don't even know them couples. I don't. And I hope folks like Adele and Rebel Wilson, I think Adele's now is with a black man. Hey, good for her. Good for them. If they together and they working it out, good for them. If Rebel Wilson's with a black dude, good for her. If she's with a white dude, good for them. But it shouldn't matter. I just don't like, and again, this is partially why I'm like a little iffy on comedy hype, because it's not about comedy sometimes. It's about this weird, like, pro-black female, anti-black male narrative. I'm sorry, I'm swerving my neck because I'm trying to figure out what the heck I'm trying to make it out as. But sometimes I see stuff like that and I'm like, what does this got to do with comedy? This is so weird. Ooh. Got it. Okay, so but yeah, it's just weird stuff. I want to continue going because I want to figure out and dissect what the heck are they talking about. Like,
It was the ultimate revenge to covet her, and in other ways, it was the forbidden fruit. As previously stated, this mentality isn't uncommon and would provide even further validation to Denzel's earlier comments about many white men feeling uncomfortable about the relations between black men and white women.
okay, oh yeah, this is the stuff I was talking about. Ironically, he got with this lady. Imagine you, they both were in the movie Rent, and she's the lady from the Let It Go lady from Frozen. So I was real surprised to hear that. But they got together, so that's surprising.
It should be noted, however, to romantically engage with whites to move up in the industry, which we all know as the term, sleeping your way to the top. It should be.
That's so stupid to me. I'm sorry. I think that's terribly incompetent. He didn't date her to get to the top. Why would he? I don't know why he dated her. Maybe he dated her for love. Let's just say that. Let's be optimistic and say he dated her for love. They both, as far as I know, they both were in the same movies, and that's not really uncommon. I mean, you see Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie when they was in movies, they got together. So if people are in a lot of movies, they work together, they interact with each other a lot more, they get closer. That's not really rocket science. When people are around each other a lot more, the likeliness of them getting together is a lot more likely. Let's just say that, a lot more higher. So that's the weird narrative I'm talking about. They're treating these interracial couples like it's like a scam or something.
As a group, most black men and black women are married to each other. But in the context of interracial dating, black men are the most likely to engage. According to statistics, it is 2.65 more times likely that in a black-white interracial union that the male will be black. This phenomenon can be an added reason behind Denzel's on-screen decisions. When discussing
I mean, just I've been talking about dating for a good minute recently in my videos, and that's not really that's not surprising to me because the expectation for men in general, not just black men, men in general, to pursue the women first is that's a social expectation. There's not really, especially in Western society, that's a social expectation. We're not out here just, all right, come here. Like the white women isn't like a predator or like a Alien versus Predator where they're like trying to latch on to you and like, no, they don't. Like, men have to pursue just like any other woman. You got to talk to them, you got to get to know them, you connect with them and all that stuff. So that's a little weird. They're trying to frame it as like the black men are the pursuers of these white women, and that they find these white women so insatiable. I'm like, I think I mentioned this already, but like on the other end, maybe because they just weren't successful in their own group. Maybe that's the case. They just weren't successful for one reason or another, and they went outside the race to try something different. Black women do it too. So I don't understand that. It's just this weird narrative that just shows, act like interracial marriage is just nefarious and is out here being anti-black men, anti-black women. It's dumb to me. I'm sorry. It's not competent. It's kind of feeding into this echo chamber that shows that like that black men specifically are just like black women hating, and they'll do anything to like spite black women, and that sounds really insular thinking, really echo chamber like.
this phenomenon can be an added reason behind Denzel's on-screen decisions. When discussing his stance further, Denzel added that it is much harder for women, and particularly African American women, to get any consistent work in Hollywood. A quote from Denzel from Daily News Lagos states, "Black or white, there seems to be a cutoff for women. Don't have kids, you're out the door. They're constantly looking for the younger one. The younger one, and for African American women, women of color, it's doubly hard. And then for dark-skinned African American women, it's even more difficult. These are very real challenges."
And that's fair. That's, in my opinion, that's fair. I'm not a black woman. I'm not a dark skinned black woman. I'm not even a light skinned woman. I'm not even a woman, period. But that it makes sense, because it makes sense. Black people are minorities, and we still have an issue of colorism in the media and colorism in terms of racial representation. You always see the woman with curly hair, like, was it 2A hair or 3A hair? You never find that. I mean, you'll find it a lot more today, but you haven't, throughout our history, we haven't seen a lot of darker skinned women in media. We've seen them a lot more today, but we haven't seen them throughout. Um, and that needs to stop. Like, and we need to have a better contextualization of black people. It it just is so weird to me here. So this is God of War, right? If anybody's played God of War, the what was that? I guess the fourth one. It's pretty much like it's not the remake, but it's just called God of War. But you can tell the love that's made in it. Now, mind you, Kratos, the voice of Kratos, as far as I know, has always been black. There's a new voice actor in this remake or something, whatever you want to call it. It's a fourth God of War, but there's always been a black dude. I'm not sure what this black dude has been from, but the last one from all three God of War movies has been from the black dude from Living Color, the darkest skin one with the locks. Um, he was the previous God of War voice actor. And, but even minus that, which is also interesting because of what we think of voice actors and expectations. But they show a passion project. You see a passion project when you see one. Like, it's so culturally rich about like Nordic culture and things of that nature. Now, mind you, he's supposed to be Spartan out here, so he ain't. He's not supposed to conform. But boy, oh boy, if you've seen it's a movie, so it's just the cutscenes, but it's very good. It's very thought out, drawn out, and all that stuff like that. And my point is just like I really wish we had a lot more passion projects that involve different people groups. Like you can't just be out here just having just let's just throw anybody in here. Let's just do it. And then expect that to not impact the movie culturally speaking. Cause like, for instance, they had Norse mythology and they had black people and people would be all in arms. Not all in arms, but they'd find that annoying because they know, okay, there's not really a lot of black people in Nordic culture or in like Viking culture or whatever, and I get it. Viking means to pillage and raid. But like people can be pretty sensitive about their cultural representation. And it makes sense. But we need to stop being so ignorant when we have these people here. I mean, when we have these cultural representations, we need to stop being so ignorant. And that's the only reason why I enjoyed Black Panther, culturally speaking, because it was like a love letter to the black community. They had stuff that was specifically, in my opinion, for us, that really spoke on stuff we thought about. Like, it was like, okay, if Wakanda existed, why you leave your son behind? And it was like a love letter to like in parts of Africa, like, yo, why you leave us behind? And like how advanced, how seeing a African society that's super advanced in the rest of the world, as far as I know, that, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so it got a bunch of stuff. So what's really advanced? But to see that from a cultural perspective of like, yo, this could be black excellence. It was great. It was great. And again, you got other people like what's his face. I don't even think it matters. But you have other people hating about a movie, and I guess you could hate it. You could criticize the movie. It just doesn't matter. But it was just like. I guess it was just because it was so personal to me. I downloaded it from Amazon. I was like, yo, this is great. This is so good. And I like that, man. It was so. If you notice, the Black Dollar, people were just so. They supported they just supported the movie so hard. It was in dashikis. And again, I don't even know where in Africa the dashikis are from, but like and people came to see it multiple times. Like, black people supported the mess out of that movie. And the thing is, just like when we see a project like that, and again, I'm pretty sure Stan Lee or Jack Kirby or something like that. But I think they had a black director, and he poured his heart out, and he had all sorts of influences in there, like the Xhosa tribe. Yeah, it's like it's with an XHOSA. It's a Xhosa. And they had all types of different people groups out there, but it was so dope to see, man. It was just like, yo, because that's something we've always wanted as African Americans. We always want to see an image of black excellence in like a city dominated by black excellence, and something that's modern. And just seeing that was just, in my opinion, was beautiful. But other people was just complaining like, what's the big deal? But the thing is, maybe y'all already have that. Maybe y'all don't understand. But my thing is just, I wish we had more passion projects that had our support, but also just show things that, and if people want to have these integrated people in there, I wish they honored it. I wish they would honor their place and not just throw them in there just cause, like to actually make it make sense within the story. Some people will have, some of these directors will just have all types of different types of people in a certain place group, and just expect them to just behave the same way. Now they might, like for instance, you can grab a bunch of Californians, and regardless of the color, they might all be pretty similar. But is that really true? Not really, because you got places, what, Long Beach, Compton, I guess. I don't know. I'm a Chicagoan. I have no idea what's over there in Chicago. I mean, California. But it would be nice to see that. It would be nice to see, like, yo, California with its different people groups, but it's appropriated for the right place. It's appropriated for the right culture in the subgroups and in the setting. But we just have this weird colorblind casting sometimes. And I think sometimes even with interracial marriages, interracial couples as shown in it, we can be pretty colorblind too. And like for instance, Focus, Will Smith and Margaret Robbie. I think she's the lady who played. I didn't even know that was her. I learned that like later. She's the lady who plays as like the Harley Quinn these days, Margaret Robbie. Um, and they were a couple. Had no idea that was her. I just seen him with a white woman, and I've seen Will Smith with a lot of white women, and as well as black women and different stuff. Which also reminds me from this topic, because even though I don't think it's a big deal, Denzel wanted to be with he. Let me see. Wait. So this is what I was talking about. Also, I want to show. I want to kind of show fences to show like how weird that dynamic is, because if you've seen Fences, don't forget to see the one with James Earl Jones. I only seen like a snippet of it, and that was pretty darn powerful. But this is his wife. Well, back in the day, they weren't husband and wife. They just played that on set. And I guess her name is Wilmetta Washington. And I just mentioned in this video about how he chose her. He how people on set, the more and more they're working together, they get closer. Same issue, same thing that happened. This wasn't like I'm intentionally dating a black woman. Like I get it. He's seen a black woman boo their interracial him in a scene with a white woman interracially as a couple, and then that affected him in terms of how he shows himself in media with women, and he chose to be mainly with black women to support them in their roles as actors and actresses. I'm sorry, as actresses being portrayed in film. But he didn't control the fact that he fell for his wife after working with her in a film. I just mentioned what you call it. I don't think they're together now, but Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, they were working together. They eventually got together. No different. And it wasn't really because of their race. They just happened to be two co-workers working together at the same thing. A bit often, they connected, they got together. It wasn't I'm going to date a black woman. It was just more so he was being very conscious of the times and very conscious of people who he worked around. So he as a black man is very mindful, was being pretty mindful after his experience of a black woman booing him, and was like, okay, I'm an actor. These are actresses. These actresses aren't getting the screen time that they need. They're not getting the opportunities they need. And maybe that's due to me as a black man just being with white women on set, and not so much like not so much after hours, but more so just the portrayal of a black man and a black woman. And so he wanted to put himself more into roles and opportunities where he had more screen time with black women, so that by extension of media, black women see themselves with black men, and that essentially gives them more of a media presence and therefore more of a social presence with their own folks. So given that, it makes sense. It's not like I don't think it's like, oh yeah, this is like I'm only dating black women. It was more so like I happen to be with a black woman. And I'm very aware as a black man, especially back in the day, around his time. Maybe he was in his 80s or 70s. I don't know. but he seemed to be pretty conscious of the world around him. And he happened to be with his woman. And I don't even know if they got together at this time, but they play husband and wife, so that definitely was gonna help. That was gonna help spark something, especially for on-set chemistry. But yeah.
Wife Pauletta Washington. According to Parade, the two met all the way back in 1975 on the film set of Wilma, the Wilma Rudolph biopic in which Denzel played Wilma's husband and Pauletta played a fellow track star. The two would meet again at a party and then coincidentally see each other a third time at a play in which they were unaware they were sitting next to each other until the lights came on. Pauletta has referenced this exact moment as when she knew the two were meant to be.
See?
Surprisingly enough, Denzel's wife of 35 years wasn't an easy catch for Denzel.
See?
According to an interview of the two conducted by Daily News Lagos, Denzel's first two marriage proposals were rejected by Pauletta. Pauletta didn't explicitly state why she said no to Denzel in this interview, but the third time was clearly the charm. When speaking on her marriage and what keeps her secure, Pauletta states, "I am secure as to who Pauletta is. My mother raised me in a way to know who I am, and actually, he married me for who I am."
There.
Furthermore,
So this wasn't no weird fetishization or some racial moralizing or whatever. He dated her as you should date somebody for who they are, not so much because her race. I gotta support the race or whatever. I don't even really know what to say to that, but I'm glad that they had a lasting marriage of 35 years and continuously going, not because of something superficial as, I'm dating a woman of this race because I want to date a woman of this race. I'm like, why? You date somebody because of a race and you don't care about the other things like consistency, character, and all them other far more important things than just the tone of their skin or the texture of their hair, and how they speak in their cultural context. You're going to be in for a world of hurt, because the other aspects of who they are will be just lost to you. And I get it. Normal people, they already keep that stuff in mind, but just don't make that your top priority. If that's going to be important to you, fine, but like make all those other things that's actually important more of your top priority. Because if you just date a person who just happened to be pretty or happened to be black, happened to be white, happened to be this, that, and the third, and that's like one of your top priorities, you don't know how this person's going to end up. You might get hurt. If you date superficially, you're going to superficially not make it, pretty much. So, because it's superficial, it's shallow. Shallow waters, shallow depth. And again, mind you, it took him 3 tries to try to talk to this lady. So, and I say talk to as propose. It took him a long time to try to talk to this person. So, yeah, it wasn't easy. He wasn't out here just saying, no. Apparently, she was worth it. She was worth it for him to continuously pursue her like that. So,
he has stability in me as his wife. That's what gives him strength. Regardless if he misuses it, I can't dwell on that. But I do know that gives him a great platform to go and fly. Of his loyalty and appreciation to black women, and is a great example of black love being represented consistently on the big screen, is just as important as it being shown in real life. As previously stated, interracial dating politics have always been a huge point of contention for many members of various racial groups. Whether it be on screen or in real life, there are those who seriously oppose the intermixing of races in any romantic life. Denzel hasn't explicitly voiced any bigoted reasons for not engaging with white women on camera, as his biggest reasoning has been consistent with honoring and respecting black women and being intentional about helping black women be seen as desirable. Hasn't explicitly voiced any bigoted reasons for not engaging with white women on camera, as his biggest reasoning has been consistent with honoring and respecting black women and being intentional about helping black women be seen as desirable and worthy of romantic pursuit. Being one of the top actors in the world and of all time, this stance is particularly powerful and has greatly impacted Denzel's legacy and perception as an actor and public figure. His intention of showing value and honor to the black woman is something that has undoubtedly opened doors for many black actresses and actors who may have the same values. With that being said, it is safe to say that we can credit Denzel with another positive contribution to the community and the culture in an already legendary career. Stay up to date with the latest news and comedy.
Wait.
By subscribing here to our YouTube channel, follow Comedy Hype News across all social media.
What aspect of this whole video have to do with comedy? Why did Denzel stop kissing white women? What does that got to do with comedy? Denzel's not a comedian. But like again, like I mentioned, I get on his end, his reasons, but none of that really had to do with. He said he did it for a black woman. A black woman could probably say that, but he didn't do it for black women. He did it because the woman he liked, he really liked her and he wanted to pursue her. It wasn't because she was a black woman. Is because he liked this woman who happened to be black, and that the reason why he limited his interactions on set with women, with white women, was because he was thinking about black women on set in terms of media, not because he wasn't interested potentially in white women. So I don't really understand what the narrative they comedy hype was trying to play there. It's a little strange to me. But like they said from that other quote about his wife Wilmette, I think. Am I saying her name wrong? I think her name was Wilmette. But she was saying, like, she's a solid person and that she's a good platform for him to fly. A solid platform for him to fly. So I mean, she sounds like a solid person to me. She could have been black, white, whatever, but she was a solid person. So when people talk about these racial politics, it's like, oh, sorry, I have to mention her. Issa Rae. Issa Rae is a great, oh my gosh, she's a great example. I have to please, if anybody gets a good example of who to talk to or just who to emulate, is Issa Rae. Oh my gosh, love me some Issa Rae. The reason why I say this is because, like, I get it. She's a suburban black girl. Did you know she had a start from YouTube? I had no idea about that. But my thing here, she's with a white man, right? She's married to white men. They happen to connect. I don't know how they did it. They connected. That's But she makes content that encourages black love. Now, mind you, I don't like this idea of like, okay, on set you gotta be one way, you gotta be consistent with the other way. I'm like, you are an actor, you have to portray different roles. So that's kind of sorry, spit. That's kind of weird to me. Kind of weird. Like, I get it, but like even comedy hype ain't trying to support. I guess they are in some sense, but they're comedy hype. It's about comedy. So, and comedy isn't limited to black men or black women. It's pretty much a diverse spectrum. And I get it. They're talking about they interview people who are just happen to be black. No, they interview black people. Let's just say that. Maybe they interview other people of other races, but from what I understand, I've just seen black people. But Issa Rae, man, she is so dope, and she's created like she's an entrepreneur. She just created so much infrastructure and probably a lot of jobs for black people. Who knows for other people? I don't know. But she's dated a white man, so she knows how to keep her life a little bit separate. So her romantic life is one way. She happened to be with a white dude. They happen to connect. They happen to like each other. They happen to get married. They like, and forgive me, I'm just saying they happen to do that because that's their business. Those two people's business. Now, for herself, in terms of her representation, I've seen her in like maybe a few interracial roles, but she's also been in black roles, like black. She supports black love, but she knows how to separate that ideal as a black person. And again, as a black person myself, I see the world, I see as a minority, we don't always get a positive, a more healthy perspective from seeing black couples. I'm sorry, like I don't sometimes see that. Maybe people outside the race, they see that. I don't know. I don't sometimes. So but she knows how to separate that from her actual love life, and I wish people like Comedy Hype would actually do that. Now maybe they are, because they're a platform, so they're a media platform, so maybe they got some white people they date. Who knows? But this weird, like, gatekeeping that they're promoting is just odd to me. It's strange to me. So I don't understand. I wish so. It's one thing to promote, because again, it's one thing to promote an image and encourage it within the industry, and that's what Denzel is doing. He's encouraging black success and black opportunity within the industry. Viola Davis said something similar some years ago. I think at the Oscars, she said black people need opportunity. Makes perfect sense. If she's with a white dude, fine. Who knows? I don't know how they got together. Maybe he had some amazing game. Who knows? But we need to have some distinction and distinguish between being a black person who encourages black cultural thrivance for the next generation and your own romantic preferences, or not preferences but your own romance and your own love life. All right, that's it. It's like 50 minutes in, so I hope this makes sense. Yeah, I hope this makes sense. Like, I think I think I think that's it.